Here are some tips on how to fill in multiple choice answer sheets properly. You're going to need one of these, a pencil, and one of these, an eraser. With the pencil, it's best to use an HB pencil. Don't have it blunt, but at the same time, don't have it too sharp, because then the lines you draw will be too thin and it will take you longer to fill in the little blocks. With the eraser, make sure that it's one you've tried at home first, and make sure that it is able to rub things out without leaving marks behind. So what to do first? Find out on the paper how it wants you to fill in the little blocks. So on this one it says, fill your answers like this. So a nice thick line across the box. Let's go and try one out now. So I'm just going to go at random here to question 26. So fill it in. And a tip here, when you fill it in, don't press too lightly, but also don't press too firmly, because you never know when you want to change your mind. So say, oh, actually I think the answer is 112, not 108. You should be able to rub this out without leaving any mark behind. So that's nice. You can see there's no mark left behind. So now I can change and fill in 112 like this. Sometimes some of the answer blocks are these type. It's a numeric type where they want you to fill in the little rectangles, but also write above here in the space provided the actual answer. So if I choose, say, 45 here, then you have to write the answer as well in the top like this. Something to look out for here is be careful when you're filling in these top blocks, because we have seen some students being a little bit untidy. So I'll just show you an example. So if you fill in 45, but then you're a little bit sloppy with the way you fill that in, you see the tails of these numbers have actually gone down into the answer option. So that could possibly be read as having been filled in. So just look out for that and be careful. It's very important that you only write where they tell you to write on this paper. So don't do any workings on this paper, do that on a separate sheet. Don't put any little marks to remind you of things on this page, because it could affect the way the paper's marked. For example, here at the top of the page, there's a QR code which identifies this particular answer sheet. So don't put any markings in here or affect that in any way. Also important, these little corner markers here, don't put anything nearby those, because it could also affect the way the paper gets marked. Some people like to put little stars by questions to remind them to come back to them later, so you might do something like that. But we would advise against that, because you might forget to erase this and it could affect the way the paper gets marked later. So it's very important that you fill in the blocks how they tell you to fill in the blocks. Even for these ones, you can see that they still do have little rectangles that you have to fill in. So just fill them in as you would the normal type. We've seen some people circling answers like this, but don't do that, because that won't work. It won't get marked correctly if you do that. Also, fill in the boxes neatly. We've seen some children sort of put squiggly lines through like that, or sometimes cross them and stuff like that. So make sure that you fill them in exactly how they tell you to fill them in at the top of the sheet. Also, just another tip, make sure that you keep the page as tidy as possible. So try not to accidentally crease it or get any smudges or any other marks on the paper which might affect the way it's marked. So as long as you remember to be consistent and neat across the whole paper, fill in things nice and clearly, not too hard, not too light, then everything should go to plan and the answer sheet should be marked perfectly. Good luck.